Right, so there's been a lot said in the last week or so about Yaesu's new release, the FTM-6000R, which I've got up on the screen behind me here. Now, it's received mixed reviews. Some people have said, yes, it's really good, can't wait to get it. Other people have said, yeah, not sure, you know. So I wanted to have a quick look through and give you my take on it. So if I switch you onto my screen capture so you can see what I'm looking at here. And this is obviously the Yaesu website with their advertising. We're pleased to introduce the new FTM-6000R 50-watt VHF UHF dual band FM mobile, so it's dual band and FM only. The new FTM-6000R is a basic feature-packed mobile transceiver. Hang on a sec. Basic and feature-packed. Which is it, Yaesu? Because if it was basic, I wouldn't expect to see many features on there. It would be sort of your budget FM 2m77s, you know, mobile radio just for your repeater contacts and a bit of simplex whilst out in the car, which is fair enough. There's a market for that. Or if it's feature packed, then I'd expect to see quite a bit more features than what I'm actually seeing in there. So let's look at some of these features that Yaesu reckon they've included. So it says here, new user operating interface, easy to operate 3, whatever that means. Presumably, I mean, it looks like they've changed some of the buttons around. So does that make it more intuitive? I don't know. I wouldn't exactly call it a heavy selling feature. Heavy duty heat sink. Well, most radios have a heat sink. Speaker delivers 3 watt. Now, this is where people often get confused here, because people think that the more watts you have, the louder it's going to be. And I don't want to go too in depth into the physics and science behind it, but I did quite a few years as a sound engineer before my current job, and just because you've got 3 watts, which is actually 1 watt louder than most of the other competition, a lot of the other radios that I've checked said 2 watts. That in itself does not mean it's louder. You also need to take into account the sound pressure level of the speakers. How efficient is the speaker? I don't know that because Yaesu haven't published the SPL figure in their technical specifications, and in fact most radio suppliers don't, because I've checked the manual for every single radio I've got here, and none of them specify what the sound pressure level is of their speaker. So I see that as just advertising, to be honest. It doesn't actually tell me anything useful about how loud it's going to be. Detachable front panel, yes, okay. Supports optional Bluetooth wireless operation. Now, it says optional. Does that mean the headset is optional, which you have to buy separately? Fair enough. Or does that mean the actual Bluetooth unit that goes inside it is optional? That was one thing I wasn't too sure on. So I actually looked into this, and I went on to the one of the large suppliers in the UK here, Martin Lynch. Now, I should say I'm not sponsored by Martin Lynch. I've got absolutely no affiliation with them whatsoever. I'm just using their website for reference. And where was it? They mentioned the Bluetooth operation, but it requires the installation of optional Bluetooth unit BU4, which I checked on here is, I believe it was an extra 30 quid. Okay. And that's on top of the radio price, which is £240. I'll come back to that in a second. So back onto our Yaesu page. Yeah, it goes on about the new interface. Whatever, a lot of radios have a new interface. Memory auto grouping. So you've also got your airband receive only and PMR bands for receive if you really want it. I don't know how many people use that. I certainly don't. Goes on here again about the memory. So basically it's a 2 meter, 70 centimeters, FM only radio with wideband receive and memory channels and scanning. I would call that a basic radio. I wouldn't call that feature packed. So personally, I'm not too sure what Yaesu's playing at here, because if it's basic, you're aiming it towards the budget end of the market, which, like I say, is fair enough. There's a market there, albeit that it's fairly sort of saturated by the cheaper Chinese stuff that's out at the moment. But you know, a lot of the cheaper stuff, to be fair, is pretty good, and we'll do the same as this. So what did I say? I said it was it £240? Yeah, £240 for this radio. So with those features, you got the likes of this Anytone, which is £100, so it's 150 quid cheaper, and it's got pretty much all the same features. And I actually know one or two people who have got these radios, and they really rate them. By the way, I've never actually got my hands on one. If you want to go a bit more upmarket, for 150 or 160 pounds, you've got this 9800 quad band, which looking at the photos, to me that looks almost like a complete rip-off of my Yaesu 8900, which I've got tucked away over there. You got 10 meters, 6 meters, 2 meters, and 77s FM only. So that's got more. That's more feature packed than the Yaesu, I would say. So I don't know about that. To me, I would say this is a bit of a letdown, because I mean, quick history lesson. We look back, the FT-817, good radio for its time. It had its issues. Really, to get the most out of it, you needed the separate compressor, which a couple of suppliers bought or supplied as an aftermarket, and that made it a really good radio. Yeah, it was a bit dated, but it was still good. Then they updated to the 818, which, to be honest, I really hoped Yaesu would do something special with the 818, but all they did was, as far as I can tell, add an extra 1 watt of power to the transmit, which, let's be frank, won't make any real difference. So that was a bit of a letdown in my view. I really would have liked to have at least seen them do something about the voice compression on the 818. I don't think they did. So, classic case of manufacturers not listening to their customers. And at the time the 818 came out, I was actually in the market for a new QRP rig for use on SOTA. Now, I was that disappointed with the 818, I passed on by and just got the ICOM 705 instead. And I'm sure a number of people did the same. So it's probably cost Yaesu quite a bit, that one. Now, you'll get your Yaesu fanboys who'll go out and buy it. You'll always get someone who will buy it, but I suspect they probably lost quite a bit of money. So that was a bit of a letdown. But then they came out with the 991, had its issues. Most of those issues they resolved and fixed for the 991A. So very good radio. Yaesu listened to their customers on that. Good job, Yaesu. And I'm an-ahhing about whether to get a 991A. I'd really like it to replace my shack radio in here and take out portable when I'm in the motorhome. So if I had the money available, I'd go out and buy one. Then they had the FT-6000, very good radio. I almost bought one of those, but I take the view there's no point buying an expensive radio till you've got your antennas sorted. I've got quite a bit of noise here and my antennas aren't great at the moment, so I'm still working on that. So I delayed on buying that. And then they bought the FT-DX10 out, which I've heard really good things on that, which is a kind of a bit of a step up, or a small step up from the FT-DX3000. And I've heard that's an absolutely awesome rig. So I'd love to get my hands on that, and maybe we'll do sometime next year. So again, Yaesu listened to their customers. Good, well done Yaesu on that one. FT3D, good radio. one of my friends, Harley, you've seen him on the channel before, he's got one, so I have managed to get my hands on it whilst we've been out playing SOTA, and had a bit of a look at it. Good radio, had a couple of issues, design issues with it, a couple of teething problems. They released the FT5D, which was an upgrade from that, and they've sorted, from what I've heard, they've sorted all the issues of the 3D in the release of the 5D. So again, Yaesu listened to their customers. Well done, Yaesu. And that's another radio I'd quite like to get. I'd quite like to replace my aging VX8R here with the FT5D. So there'll be people out there who will say I'm being a bit harsh on Yaesu with this one, but the honest truth is I'm struggling to see which part of the market that this radio fits into, because it's too expensive to go in the budget end. Now, yes, I get that the budget end is full of Chinese radios which are lower price. You're paying for the badge name with Yaesu, so I'd expect it to be a bit more expensive, around the 150 or so mark. But like I said, it's £240. It's way above that, and they're saying it's feature packed, but well, it's not really. If it was feature packed, I'd want to see the Bluetooth included as standard. The Yaesu includes some C4 FM mode in there, Fusion, so you get digital on it as well, and maybe even make it tri-band. I've heard a lot of Americans say that they want the 220. Obviously, half the world that's completely useless, because unless you're in, I think it's basically South America, North America or Canada are the only places that have an allocation for that. But then they could put 4 meters in there maybe. So I don't know, I wouldn't call it a feature packed radio. For me, it's a bit of a letdown. And like I say, there'll be some people who accuse me of being a bit of a Yaesu hater. I'm not. I'm anything from it. I'm probably closer to being a Yaesu fanboy than a hater, to be honest. I've had a lot of Yaesus in my time. I tend to sway towards either Yaesu as my first choice or ICOM as my second choice. And in terms of Yaesus I own, I did have an 8800, which I've sold. I've got an 8900, which is basically the same as the 8800, but with the extra 2 bands, and it does cross-band repeat. So I use that for when we're out on Raynet events. I've got FT290 over there on the side, quite an old rig, good for a bit of nostalgia. I've got my, like I said, my VX8R here, and my 857 as well. And I'm actually looking at buying a couple of new Yaesu rigs. So I'm far from being a Yaesu hater, but I just don't think that Yaesu have quite got the right market here. I don't think they've listened to their customers, which is a real shame, really, because I think this is a bit of a letdown. But like I say, there will be people that will go out and buy this. There'll be the Yaesu fanatics who will buy just about anything Yaesu that comes out just because it's the new and latest thing on the market. But for me, I'm struggling to see where this fits in. I certainly won't be getting one. So there you go. That's my take on it. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'm curious to see what other people think about this.